This wasn't just a flood. It was a test. It tested infrastructure. It tested emergency preparedness. And most importantly, it tested the spirit of the people. If it can happen in Sichuan, home to one of China's most advanced weather alert systems, then it can happen anywhere. Cities must prepare for not just storms, but the perfect storm. Climate change is not theoretical. It's here, in the broken homes and broken hearts of southwest China. We must Relief continues, but it's not enough. UNICEF and Red Cross have pledged support. Vietnam, Thailand, and Pakistan have sent aid. A national day of mourning was observed, with flags lowered and sirens sounded across China. The Chinese government has committed 30 billion yuan to rebuilding efforts. Urban planning commissions are already drafting resilient zone maps to prepare for future events. As waters recede, the danger is far from over. Contaminated water supplies pose disease threats, including cholera and dysentery. Electric shocks from submerged power lines have already claimed 3 more lives. Mosquito-borne illnesses like dengue fever could spike in the coming weeks. Hunger looms. With thousands of hectares of farmland ruined, local food security is in jeopardy. The emotional toll is rising too. Counselors report spikes in trauma cases, especially among children. What caused such a devastating combination of flood and mudslide? Meteorologists point to 3 key factors. Stalled monsoon patterns brought excessive rain into mountain valleys. Remnants of Typhoon Gami funneled tropical moisture inland. Record heat waves in June dried and cracked topsoil, making it more likely to trigger landslides during sudden storms. Combined, these elements formed a perfect storm scenario. Hourly rain rates exceeded 100 millimeters per hour in some districts. Hills saturated from weeks of prior rain couldn't hold. The result, cascades of mud. Experts warn that these compound climate events are becoming more frequent. The devastation didn't stop in Sichuan and Guizhou. Neighboring provinces felt the ripple effects.
Yunnan reported emergency evacuations in 14 counties. Chongqing saw bridges washed away and rural districts cut off. Hunan and Guangxi faced landslide warnings and road closures. In total, over 2.3 million people were affected across 7 provinces. The economic toll is staggering. Early estimates suggest over $12 billion in damage, not including lost crops, livestock, and future yield from destroyed farmland.
The Chinese government responded rapidly. Over 20,000 soldiers and firefighters were mobilized. Dozens of rescue helicopters and drones were deployed to survey damage and drop supplies. Emergency shelters were opened in schools, gyms, and mosques across both provinces. Local heroes emerged too. In one town, teenagers formed a human chain in waist-deep water to guide neighbors to safety. In another, monks opened temple gates to house hundreds of flood victims. Still, logistical nightmares persisted. Remote mountain villages were unreachable for days. Behind every collapsed building, there was a story. Behind every news alert, a family clung to hope. Children were lost to the waves. Parents held onto roof beams as they searched for their young. Elderly residents, unable to flee, waited as the earth moved beneath them. The confirmed toll was heartbreaking. More than 200 deaths reported within the first 3 days. Over 500 still missing. Thousands injured. Nearly 1 million people displaced. In one village in northern Guizhou, an elderly man was found clinging to the rafters of his roof after 2 days without food or water. In another case, a group of school children survived by sheltering in a mountain cave, emerging after 3 days, covered in mud but alive. Landslides and floods converged to create an environmental catastrophe of historic proportions. Torrents of mud raced down deforested hillsides, flattening homes, uprooting trees, and swallowing entire roads. In Guizhou, the Sichuan River surged past its safety limit for the first time since 1953. In Sichuan, floodwaters roared through mountain valleys, cutting off villages and triggering over 40 major landslides within a 24-hour span. Entire townships were left submerged under brown waters or buried in tons of earth. Key highways and railways collapsed, communication lines snapped, rescue teams struggled to navigate terrain that was now unrecognizable. It began as a whisper in the wind, a murmur in the mountains. But in just hours, nature unleashed a chaos so profound that even seasoned meteorologists were left stunned. Sichuan and Guizhou, 2 provinces nestled in the lush and mountainous heart of China, were thrown into an abyss of destruction as relentless rains morphed into deadly torrents. Families were torn apart, villages were buried alive, and millions watched helplessly as homes, hopes, and history were swallowed whole by nature's wrath. One moment, children were playing outside under a cloudy sky. The next, rivers erupted through towns like unleashed dragons, devouring bridges, highways, and anything in their path. It wasn't just rain, it was fury, and it had come for everything.